You're listening to a Frequency Podcast Network production.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
This is the Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Welcome to Monday. My name is Brock.
I'm Dalby.
Got a little special long weekend podcast for you here.
A little bonus action for those of you who, like us, are not legally required to show up at your place of work on a Monday. And to those of you who are maybe listening to this after you put in an 8 hours on the quote-unquote Civic Holiday Monday.
Happy Honda Civic Day, guys. You shouldn't be allowed to celebrate if you don't have a Civic. That's all I'm saying.
That's the line you're drawing in the sand. Yeah, It's tough when you find out like people do work on a long weekend. Like I have a friend of mine who I was asking them the other day. I was like, "Oh, any big long weekend plans? Maybe get together, maybe hang out or whatever." Oh, I'm starting a new job. I have to work on Monday. I was like, oh, your first day of work is a holiday Monday?
I will say, because like when we first met in Regina, I was doing weekends at the station.
That's true.
I didn't mind it because every holiday that I worked, if it was a holiday Monday or a Friday, whatever, I got a day in lieu in return.
That's true.
And then I also got paid time and a half as well.
So is the August long weekend, because it's not a stat holiday.
Is it not?
It's a civic holiday, which is why like... It's a day off, but you don't have to give it. Like I said, like my friend who's working on the Monday.
Yeah. So you don't get time and a half today?
That's what I'm asking. I don't know because it's not technically a stat holiday. I was reading about this, and apparently, like many government officials have tried to put in a bill that makes this an obligatory stat holiday.
Yeah.
But they've all failed for whatever reason. So I don't know. Maybe hey, we have a bad line. We have a voicemail, 833-854-2233. Leave us a message if you did you get time and a half for working on the Civic long weekend?
I mean, most of us aren't getting paid enough regardless. So.
Well, God, isn't that the fact of the matter, man? I just keep seeing all these stories on like Reddit and stuff like that of people talking about trying to find new jobs and what they're being paid and all that. And I'm just like, oh, wow, that is super close to minimum wage for people who are doing really, really important work.
It's this weird fine line right now of like, I want everybody to be making more money, but then it's also like as everybody makes more money, like things get more expensive. So it's like, it's this weird divide of like, yeah, like I'm stoked that McDonald's employees are making like $17 an hour or whatever it is. But it's like, I also hate paying close to $20 for a Big Mac.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is it's sort of this economic theory that like if we pay the workers more, if everybody's making more money, then we have to charge more for the services and for the products. And that's not necessarily true. Like I get that on some level, some small businesses, cell phone businesses, stuff like that, paying more can be tight because you're already on razor thin margins. But like the McDonald's of the world, when they're like, we have to raise the price of the Big Mac because we have to give our employees a living wage. Like, no, you don't. You could make $1 million less this year, and it would be an accounting error. Like you would never notice that money.
Plus, the quality of the food is just and I'm not just taking a shot at Mickey D's, but like everybody.
Fast food in general, the products that we're getting, the services that we're getting from these massive mega corporations that are CEO owned, that are board of governors, board of directors, shareholders. The quality is going down, the prices are going up, and then they keep giving us these PR speeches about like, hey, we just want to make sure that our employees are taken care of, and that means that sometimes we have to do things we're not happy about. Like taking all of your money for a single grapefruit.
Companies are like shitty boyfriends. They just gaslight everyone into thinking that they're helping out. That was the
Loblaws thing when and I'm not, again, we're not trying to dump on any specific company.
No, I know what you mean though.
You all suck, to be fair, but it's when the whole like the inflation thing really started to ramp up and everybody really got, before the boycotts or anything, started to get on Loblaws, and Loblaws like, guys, we're right there with you. We're buying groceries too. Our suppliers are the ones that are raising the prices, and they're raising prices because they're raising prices. You're right. It is just like, honey, no, I swear I won't go out drinking with the boys anymore. Except next weekend, I already have plans with Steve, but after that, I promise I'll change.
It shouldn't be cheaper to buy drugs than it is groceries. That's the biggest thing right now.
Honestly,
man,
super true.
I got a buddy, and I won't say his name, but like one of my like really good friends is actually like moving back in with his parents, and I know he's kind of bummed about it or whatever, but it's like, that's his way of like saving money right now, which it is funny. We were chatting the other day because he finally moved out of the house he was living in with like a bunch of our buddies, and he was like, I didn't think about it till I spent the first night at my parents' house that like I gotta really time my my solo kind of sessions, if you know what I mean.
Oh, God.
And I was like, damn, dude, that sucks.
That's so much to just land on your mind all at once.
He's like, it's like being back in high school all over again. Like, my mom goes out, and it's kind of like that Dave Chappelle joke with his wife. Like, how long are you going to be gone? Like, I need to know. 30 minutes?
I need hard times, start and finish.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
A lot of long showers.
Say nothing about trying to bring a significant other, a date home. Just by yourself, you need to watch these
I
things.
was like, dude, there's no way. I mean, like, you could, but it's also...
But you can't.
Shh, keep it down. My roommates are sleeping. Exclusively referring to your parents as your roommates now.
Because I've thought about this, like, when I was growing up, and it's not that my parents ever forced me out of the house. My parents would have let me live at home for as long as I needed to. But
sure,
at that time period, that's sort of been the mentality for a long time, is like, you turn 18, you graduate high school, you get the hell out of my house, go to college, get a job, and I see you in the holidays. Whereas, like, nowadays, I'm thinking about my kids will be college age in 8 and 10 years. And if they want to go to college, like if I'm living at the time near a college or university and they want to live at home, or once they graduate, they need to live at home to like make money to go out and get their first place. Like I'm thinking like I would love to have my house to myself as I get older, but
sure,
you almost have to as a parent now be open to letting your kids come back, because to just kick them out of the nest in this economy is crazy.
I think nowadays it's like the average kid, person's child, basically doesn't move out to like 25, man.
Honestly, it feels that way, yeah, because you need that nest to be able to build up some savings. And you just spent all your money on college and all that stuff. You got loans to pay for the rest of your life now.
Yeah.
Your parents almost need to be like, it's okay.
It is kind of funny, too, because then it kind of comes full circle where it's like a lot of parents end up moving in with their kids or whatever. Or, I mean, you talk about kids going to college. It's kind of funny. I feel like you can go to the dorms twice. You can go to the dorms if you go to college. But then when you get older, if you get put in a retirement home.
Is that a dorm for old people?
Dude, retirement homes sound like they are like a party and a half.
Honestly, I mean, we have talked many times on the show about surveys and studies about like
they fuck
STDs. Yeah,
let's call a spade a spade. If your grandparents are in a retirement home, it's not like what is it, Happy Gilmore, where Ben Stiller's yelling at her. It sounds like a lot of the time they are just.
Everybody on TV and on movies makes it sound like old folks' homes and like elderly homes and stuff like that is just like all these people just sort of wasting away,
zombified,
sitting around, playing canasta or bridge. And then you see these studies and surveys and it's like, oh no.
Yeah, I know a dude who works at a retirement home here in town.
Oh.
And he's like, the stuff I see, and it like
you knock on every door.
I won't say a name for this one either, and I won't say where he works, but he tells me, he's like, there's a couple ladies that he's like, you have to go check in, like make sure they take their pills, blah blah blah, all this stuff.
Right.
And he's like, he'll go in and they're like full nude. Like they're trying to come on to him and stuff, and he has to be like, Gladys, please.
Mrs. Robinson, are you trying to seduce me?
Yeah, please put your teeth back in, put your clothes on.
You know what? Not that anybody should be putting somebody in that sort of situation. I won't say good for them for that specific instance, but to the people who are living that kind of life at that stage, good for them.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Okay, you got to be careful, though. You could get Me Too'd even if you're in a retirement home.
You think so?
Yeah, you could, I think. I mean...
Well, no, I guess, yeah, because what you were saying, like, imagine that story you're telling where it's like the guy walks in, the woman's fully nude, like, oh, you like what you see? And we have a good laugh. If it's the other way around, if it's like a female nurse coming into the room and it's an old man in his like 80s, like, you like what you see? He's being reported. This is not funny. This is like, oh my God,
Harvey
how could you do
Weinstein
that?
Shit, yeah.
Yeah, so it shouldn't be okay for either of them now that you mention it that way.
I couldn't imagine sticking one of my parents. I know I make jokes about it to my dad all the time, but like I couldn't imagine doing that to them. But then I also like, I don't know. I just watched my grandpa kind of go through a lot of shit a few months ago.
Oh, absolutely.
And I know how hard it was. Like my grandma's finally moving in with my mom now.
Yeah.
And my grandma and grandpa like stayed in their own place for the longest time. It seemed really hard. My mom kept trying to get them to move in.
Yeah.
But I'm also like, it's that fine line of like, are you able to take care of them? Are you know?
Yeah, that is the tough thing is like you know, ideally families stay together multiple generations, right? But again, as you go back to this sort of conversation about the economy and the world as it is right now, people are struggling. Adding another person to the house, another dependent, essentially, is not always an option for some people.
It's like adopting an old cat, right?
Honestly, yeah.
Well, it's just a really shitty comparison after I talked about my grandparents.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
And like, you know, shout out to my grandma. This is my last grandparent, just turned 90 last week. Shout out to her. She was living by herself in a home just outside of Perth and was struggling with it. Like, to, you know, it was a bad scene and people got really worried about my grandma. And she didn't want to go in a home. She didn't want to go in a facility. And finally, my uncle and my mom and everybody convinced her this is the best for her. And like, fast forward a couple years to where we are now, thriving. She just had her 90th birthday, looks great, came out for a celebration with the family.
Age is so messed up to me because it's like my grandpa passed away at 81 and he was bedridden for like almost a month in the hospital. You know, I was going back and forth there for a while. And then it's like, I go and see the Steve Miller Band. And I'm watching this dude wail on the guitar, and I Googled, I'm like, how old is Steve Miller?
Right.
He's 81, and it's crazy, like, the vast comparisons. Obviously, you know, like, my grandpa wasn't the healthiest dude. He drank a lot. He was a big guy or whatever. But it's crazy when you see different ages.
How age can affect two different people
at different times.
Different ways. Yeah. Well, I mean, even look at... our American neighbors are in the process of deciding if they want to choose a 78-year-old man to be their president as an 81-year-old man is stepping down. Like, it's just crazy how ages mean nothing. Even I love the meme where it's like you look at the Golden Girls on TV and like their characters at the time were
supposed to be like 50.
They were like 50 years old. Yeah. And they were all like retired.
These old bags.
Gray. Yeah, right. They're like still the example people use for like getting old.
Yo.
And I'm like, I'm 10 years off that.
If you call a lady in her 50s a golden girl,
yo, you're getting hit.
I guarantee you that's not going to go well.
You're getting smacked for sure. It's just crazy how time is different.
When you watch sports and they call like anyone that's in their mid-30s, they're like, he's an old veteran.
A grizzled veteran of the gridiron. It's like, that dude... It's got to wait 30 years to collect pension. What the hell are we talking about?
Well,
here?
Even like between me and Courtney, my girlfriend, like she's 5 years older than me. And so a lot of her friends, they're always like, oh, you're a little baby. You're a little baby. And then she was like FaceTiming with a friend the other day. And then she's like, how old are you turning next year? And I'm like, I'm turning 30. And she's like, oh, you're just a baby.
Yeah.
And I was like, bitch, you're old as fuck. No. It's like, get off my case. Is that what you want?
No matter how old you get, you will always be just a baby.
Yeah.
Just a sweet summer child.
Which is funny is like everybody likes to make that joke when you're younger than them.
Yeah.
Till you come back with the shade about them being old.
Yeah.
Nobody likes that. Nobody likes that smoke.
That's the thing, right? Because it's acceptable one way for some reason. Like it's okay to taunt someone for being really young. But if you tell them they're really old, I don't know, maybe it's because we're all closer to death. Maybe that's why.
It is funny.
It becomes really upsetting.
I feel like we also refer to like anyone that's younger than us as 12 years old too.
Yeah.
Like, if I see anyone that I think is like remotely high school, they look 12. Like that's, I don't know why that's the designated age.
Well, we were watching, I can't remember if it was trampoline or gymnastics in the Olympics here in the studio, and you were like, oh my God, look at this child. And I looked up and I was like, oh my God, what are you, 14?
Yeah.
Man, it's a bunch of like 18, 19-year-olds competing.
Dude, some of them are like 14.
No, that's true. Yeah, was it like the skateboarding events have some super young
There's a bunch of like, I don't know, they're Japanese or Chinese, but like, yeah, they're all like 12, 13, 14 years old, which is nuts.
Can I get your opinion on something? Because I saw a video. I'm just like totally off topic now, but I saw a video the other day and it made me think of you. It was somebody on TikTok who had gone somewhat viral for their video of saying, is it just me? Why does every skateboarder at the Olympics suck?
Oh, I saw that. Yeah, that was stupid.
Now, my favorite response, someone was like, you have 1 year to do a Christ air and post it on this app, or else you need to apologize and shut the fuck up.
I think the thing that people don't realize, like, if if you don't know skateboarding at
Right.
all, so for the Olympics, they did you had 2 runs, best score from 1 run.
And that's where you kind of go from like ramp to line to grind to all these things. You just kind of go about your own.
You go through the
pace.
whole course kind of thing for 45 seconds. Then they would have 5 attempts at best trick, and then you would take 2 scores from that combined with your run score. So the best trick is tough to watch because, I mean, skateboarding, a dude could go up to a handrail, stairs, whatever it is, spend like 2, 3, 4 hours trying to land one trick.
Just doing the same thing over and over and over again.
And you got 5 chances at the Olympics to just land once. So I know a lot of people are just seeing dudes just eat it over and over again. And they like, that was a big thing on Twitter and whatever. And everyone's like, oh, these skateboarders suck. It's like, no, they don't suck. You just gave them 5 opportunities to do something.
So as a skateboarder and a skateboarding fan, how do you feel about it being in the Olympics? Like, do you think that does this hurt the sport or does it help it?
No.
Do you think the attention it gets being on an international stage like this is worth every 4 years people are going to go, all the skateboarders suck again this year?
See, I don't know about that. Maybe I don't think it'll get as much TV spotlight. But the one thing, like, as a skateboarder and like skateboarding fan, I thought it was rad because the skateboarders didn't care. None of them cared.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Obviously, the guys that won were stoked.
You're happy to get a gold as opposed to getting nothing.
You watch them eat it, and they're all smiling, and they're laughing, and they're chumming about, and it's like, that's skateboarding, man. Like, skateboarding isn't about the competitions and stuff. Obviously, a lot of these guys, they make money doing these contests.
But it's mostly about the camaraderie.
It's the love of the game.
It's the community.
Right? Like, that's the biggest thing for it. Dude, you want to talk about one sport that is very boring to watch on TV at the Olympics? Surfing. And it's the same kind of thing, but I watched that for a half an hour. They couldn't catch a wave. Like, the waves just weren't coming in. That's one that I don't think will maybe last as long, or the TV, like, at least proponent of it.
That's another one, too, where it's like, we all know what surfing is, but we all know it from, like, a Hollywood perspective of, like, you get on a board, the big tidal wave comes in, there's a dog on the back of your board, and you ride through, and it's crazy.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, the actuality of surfing, like, we have no idea of the intricacies of how the actual sport goes.
Yeah.
So you and I, it's kind of like watching skateboarding with you. I'm sitting here watching them do their, like, park runs, and I'm like, I don't understand what's happening. And you're on the other side of the desk going, oh my God, what a run. That was so sick.
Yeah.
And I wonder if you watched surfing with a surfer, if you were like, oh, this is kind of boring, would they be like, oh, no, but, like, check out what's happening over here?
Well, I think the thing that really sucks, too, is, like, I started getting the gist of it after watching for a half an hour. And it's like, they have to try and get a good wave, which is the big thing. So, like, I don't know, your score is based on Mother Nature?
Yeah, I mean, I hate to say this, but, like, if you need a certain caliber of wave for this to be, like, an official competitive run and event, I think you kind of got to do it in, like, a pool-type facility, right? Like, I don't know what
like
kind of...
those things they have on cruise ships?
Yeah. You know?
That'd be sick.
Like the West Edmonton Mall wave pool. Maybe you need something like that where they can generate the waves so we can have an actual competition so that mutts like you and I aren't sitting here watching surfing and going, I don't get it.
Yeah.
It's a sunny, boring day and nothing's happening.
I'm waiting for someone to hang 10,
right,
brother. Yeah.
Where's Spuds McKenzie at?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm waiting to see the breakdancing at the Olympics, which it'll have happened because we're recording this in advance.
Oh, maybe it happens over the weekend. I haven't looked at the schedule. I'm with you, though. That is
What's
another
the
one.
arena look like for that?
Right.
Like, what's the setup for it? Is it just going to be a cardboard box on the ground with the Olympic logo on it?
I assume it won't be cardboard. Maybe they'll do up the floor to look like cardboard.
Yeah.
But I, in my mind, keep picturing that it'll probably, and again, total guess here, I could see it looking a lot like when they do the floor routine for gymnastics.
Yeah, true.
Of just like a big flat
Or like
open
the
surface.
judo kind of course.
Yeah. And you see, like, I have seen some, like, you know, dance battle videos when you get into the real wormholes on YouTube and stuff like that. And it is just a big flat stage.
I would love it if it was more like that movie Stomp the Yard, where they're like talking smack to each other and stuff.
Instead of breakdancing, it's like drumline at one another. That would actually be kind of sick.
That'd be nice.
I think the U.S. would probably have the advantage of, like, marching bands in colleges and stuff like that.
I don't know. Russia might have something pretty good too. Or wait, they're not allowed, are they?
No, what is it this year? And you know what? I think this is kind of dumb. So the Russians were originally banned, and I want to say it was like 2015, 2016, for doping scandals. It turned out just like every Russian athlete was on steroids. It was crazy. Then they got rebanned over the whole war in the Ukraine, and I think Belarus got brought down with them. But they don't want to punish the athletes, who obviously have nothing to do with invading. So they let the athletes compete, but they're under, it used to be Russian Olympic Committee, because the Olympics were like, oh, if we don't call them Russians, then Vladimir Putin will be frustrated and mad at us, and that'll show him.
Yeah.
But they're all still here.
I mean, it's like them changing the name from Aunt Jemima to Pearl Mills.
You
like,
still know what
we
it
all
is.
know what it is.
So
yeah.
this year it's supposed to be like neutral individual athletes or something, but in French it's AIN. So if you see an AIN athlete, they are either Russian or Belarusian, which just means we're all still know that they're Russians. Like, it's not like this is a mix of people from around the world and who knows where they're from. Sergey over here from AIN is still a Russian athlete.
They should have it like a character in a video game where they just call them like the mystery team, and they make them wear like morph suits so you can't actually see who they are.
On TV, they're digitally blurred out like in Cops.
Yeah, yeah, like one of those documentaries about drug lords, and they all talk like with a really deep voice.
And then for like the anthem, they could just play like, I don't know, some techno rave music or something.
We like to party.
Yeah.
We like.
You know what? You're right. The best music for this mystery country conglomeration is absolutely the Venga Boys.
That would actually be a cool Olympics where it's like you don't know who's competing for which country.
Yeah.
Everyone's like very generic, and then at the end you figure it out.
Yeah, that would be interesting. It would make you pay more attention to each of the competitors, because even like there was, I can't even remember what it was, but there was an event that we were watching the other day, and I was looking up, and if I looked at the screen and it wasn't the Canadian, I went back to doing like work stuff.
You don't care, yeah.
Whereas if you didn't know, but it would be tough to keep their identity secret. Like, I feel like people would know.
Yeah.
Especially like people in the stands. We were watching diving, synchronized springboard, and there was a Mexican team. I think they got the gold medal, or no, they got silver. There were a lot of people there cheering for the Mexican team at French diving headquarters. It was crazy.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, like, you're going to know, hey, that guy in the sombrero, because there was someone in a sombrero at the diving event, keeps cheering for this guy. I bet he's from Mexico. You know, you're rolling dice.
It's not really the whole like glory hole treatment. You can't. It doesn't really hide behind the wall like that, does it?
We have officially reached a world first. I guarantee, I will say this with all my chest, no one in the world has ever made a comparison between the Olympics and a glory hole until this very moment. We did it, everybody.
If you don't know who someone is, they're glory holing you. Instead of calling it catfishing, that's what I'm going to refer to it from now on.
Glory hole?
Yeah. It's like that guy from work that you know, but you don't know his name.
Okay, you absolutely cannot refer to coworkers as glory holing.
Behind their back, you could. Behind their back, 100% you could. There's a lot of things you can do at work, but as long as you don't say it to someone's face, you're cool.
No, I think as soon as the wheels of your vehicle, whether it's car, bike, whether you walk to work, whatever, as soon as you are on company property, you cannot use the words glory hole unless you work in a public restroom. That's
like,
it.
If you're the kind of person that's on Facebook on like on an alternate account where you're just kind of like talking shit all the time, you're glory holing.
It's not your burner account, it's your glory hole account. I hate that. I hate that so much. I don't like it.
I will say, because we get it sometimes. I know there's people that like talk bear shit to us online or whatever. And I'm here for it. To be honest, like, I kind of enjoy it. It takes me down a notch when I'm feeling too good about myself to be like, oh, damn, how do you know me so well?
You like it as a break check for your ego?
For my ego. But I also, like, I respect the idea of someone's, like, effort that they put in that. Like, it's a shitty thing to do.
Sure.
But it's kind of an art form in a sense.
It can be. Like, we had somebody the other day call the show just to let us know that they like the station and hate us. and they listen to us every day, but they hate us.
But I respect that.
There was no point to the call. That was it. He just picked up the phone one day and was like, I need to let these guys know that I don't like them. And that's weirdo behavior to me. Now, if someone gets on the phone or gets on the text line and they craft it in, and they don't like us, they are being mean.
Yeah.
But it's a well-crafted, witty barb that makes you go like to laugh or think. That I'm on board for.
Sometimes I look at the text line and people will say something like so specific, and I'm like, how are you in my brain? Like they'll say something about like what I think about myself, and I'm like, oh, are you my therapist? Like, are you my therapist texting in right now?
If you can insult me in a way that makes me laugh, I honestly go for it. I think that's great. I think it's funny. There's entertainment value of it. Only time I get frustrated when people like insult us, insult the show, insult the station or whatever like that is when they just do things like, you guys suck. Because you guys are like, you suck.
Yeah.
It's like, man, go ask your mom to write a better one. Like, go home and try again.
I will say, like, even outside of like our work, I don't ever like or comment on anything on social media. Like,
you are very off the grid when you leave this building.
I like Instagram. Like, I mess with Instagram, but that's pretty much it. But
you mess with Instagram so you can send me inappropriate reels.
I'm all for the memes. But even like, I catch myself sometimes where I'm like, I don't like anyone's stuff. I don't comment on anyone's stuff.
Yeah.
But damn well, if I see a post and it makes me like think something, I'm like, I gotta go to the comments to see if someone has the same thought as me.
Oh, dude, I know everybody's always said, right, stay out of the comments. The comments are the pits. The comments will literally be bad for your mental health.
Dude, the comments are gold.
I need to get into the comments. I need to see what people are saying about certain things because I'm with you. I need to know when the intrusive thoughts come. I need to know I'm not alone.
That someone's got the same wavelength as you.
Somebody else had the same weird outlook or take on whatever has been presented, whether it's a meme, a video, a documentary, whatever it is. I need to find at least one person to make myself feel like I'm not a psychopath.
Or sometimes if I look at something and I think a terrible thought, and then I go to the comments and I read everyone else's, I'm like, not as bad as that guy.
Yeah, you come up with like some real dark humor shit,
Yeah.
and then you're like, oh, that guy said things I would never say. I'm fine.
I was like, that guy's got a worse spot in hell than I do. I was like, I'm in a junior suite. That guy's in a luxury. That guy's in the penthouse.
Wait, is that how it works? The worse you are, the better place you get in hell?
Oh, yeah, maybe no.
I love the idea of like, that would actually make more sense for hell, is like the more evil you are, the more welcome you are in hell.
I like to imagine that hell is kind of like the college dorms where it's like you're roomed with someone.
Yeah.
And they room with like you with someone who is like the polar opposite of you.
It's whatever you do is the most...
Which is basically college, actually. That's what they always do.
Whatever you do is the most annoying thing in the world to the other person and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
But also, just to be clear, so far in the last 27 minutes or so, according to the timer, you have now put on equal footing college dorms, old folks' homes, and hell. That's the trifecta.
Also glory holes. We've covered a lot today. We've covered a lot of ground, and I'm happy about that.
That's
honestly.
a lot for a holiday Monday. Maybe we should pack it in and let the people digest before we get back to live shows tomorrow.
Did you got any plans for this weekend? I know we're recording this on Friday, but
I will let you know that if you are hearing this on Monday or later, all I did was watch WWE SummerSlam this weekend.
Oh, hell yeah.
I ate chips.
Who's the big main event for SummerSlam?
Oh, what is it? Cody Rhodes is wrestling a guy named Solo Sikoa. He's not a big name.
I know. I don't know any wrestlers anymore.
Logan Paul's on the card.
Yeah.
He's wrestling.
He's kind of. It seems like he's got some hype around him, though. Eh?
He's a really good wrestler, but he is also still a huge piece of shit person. So, like, he's still scamming people with crypto, and he said some really like transphobic stuff on social
he's
media.
He's a real heel, then.
Yeah, you know what?
Are they leaning into that stuff?
He is a heel in wrestling, but not for the. In his wrestling character is just really egotistical, whereas his life character is an actual bag of flaming dog shit. So it's it's tough. It's tough to. They've actually had to scale him down to make him a bad guy in wrestling.
Yeah,
to make you still want to watch.
Does he ever do like a Stone Cold thing and come out with his Prime energy drinks and like smash them up and stuff?
He doesn't smash them up. He comes out with Prime literally every time he's on camera. He's also sold Prime. The Prime logo is on the ring now.
They have like mat sponsors.
They
now?
are like the number one. They are the only sponsor that gets any mat space. Is just a big fucking bottle of Prime. They made him a champion. They have a big novelty like Gatorade jug, but it's a Prime bottle that sits at ringside for
whack.
every show. It's basically WWE Prime now. It's
man.
Which is it's fucked up because Prime is so gross.
I've never tried it.
It's so disgusting.
I've never tried it because it's expensive as hell.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, it's kind of like what energy drinks was for like me and my friends in the 7th and 8th grade. Kids collect those bottles for some reason. They collect empty bottles of Prime. I've seen it on Facebook
around.
Marketplace. People just selling them.
It's ridiculous. Have you ever gone to like a fountain pop machine that was out of the soda and you just got like really thick syrup?
Yeah.
That's honestly what Prime tastes like. Like, I bought a bunch for my son because he's one of those kids that's like obsessed with Prime. Then he went away for his vacation, so I've just been kind of working through it, and I have to literally 1-to-1 water to Prime to make it digestible.
It's weird how
it's so gross.
A lot of these like YouTubers and stuff as they get older, like their whole market has always been to kids. Mm-hmm. That's got to be a weird position to be in. Like, how old's Logan Paul? He's got to be like what, my age, like 30, like 28, 27.
I think he's at least 30 now. Yeah, but you're right. He's probably very close to your age, whether he's just under 30 or just over.
It's got to be almost an identity crisis at times where you're like, I mean, I have it. I'm turning 30 next year, and I'm like, I still feel young, but I'm getting older, blah, blah, blah,
right,
whatever.
Yeah, you're sort of in that sweet spot.
And it's like, I wonder how that guy feels where it's like majority of his audience is kids, but then I know he does this podcast stuff where he's trying to cater to like young
Grown
adults.
folks, yeah.
It's like there's those, I hate those guys, and they're from Canada too, but those Nelk boys, like their whole gimmick is like, we're frat guys. It's like, dude, you guys are in your 30s now.
You can't be doing this for much longer. It gets real gross.
They go to like college parties and like chill and stuff. It's like that guy that you remember when you were at a high school party and you're like, who is that? And it's some grown ass man like hanging out.
Whose older brother came to the Bush party today? Yeah. And I hate to say it because I know that you used to be a fan of these guys, maybe still are. I feel the same way whenever I hear about a new Jackass project being put together.
True.
I'm like, guys, no more, okay? Let's just, your bodies aren't that great anymore. You're too old for this shit. This isn't funny anymore. Now, when Johnny Knoxville gets hit in the face and knocked down and he's going, I don't think it's funny. I'm like, someone check on this man.
Dude, that last Jackass movie kind of made me think it's like that whole crew, at least like the OG Jackass crew.
Yeah.
They're kind of like beer leaguers who like never let the dream die.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They had like their time in the sun playing a little Junior A for a bit, and then it fizzled out, and they're like, I could keep her going.
I could keep her going. I could put one more bottle rocket up my asshole. I could do it.
Yeah.
I could do it.
Yeah. And then they're trying to bring like young kids into it and stuff now too. And it's like
trying to pass the torch.
Yeah, they haven't done anything with it.
What an awful torch to pass, by the way. Like, yes, they're all rich, they're all famous, but you look into it, like a lot of shit went down. They're all injured. They're like, they've had some rough times, and the idea of being like, and now it's your turn. Yeah. Why would you do that to someone?
Jackass 4 was like, if I went home and my dad was like, hey, push this shopping cart in the curb for me. Like, that would be so sad.
Dad, come on in the house, all right? We need to talk.
All right. I feel like we've gone on long enough. We hope you guys had yourself a good long weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, stay safe out there, and if you're working today, God bless you, man.
It's crazy to think that's actually how this podcast started. That was the beginning topic.
Was it?
Was if you're working on a holiday Monday, that's a bummer. Hopefully you're making good money.
And if you're behind a glory hole, be careful. All right. That's going to do it for us. Can I say keep it sexy after that?
You might as well.
All right. Check out our Instagram page as well. Brock and Dalby on Instagram. We're still following everyone who follows us.
We're also Facebook.com/Brock and Dalby if you're more of a Facebook person. And then I'm Dalby FM on TikTok. You're
Brock.Lewis on Instagram.
That's right.
That's where I am.
There you go. Come out and find us.
All right.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. For more Brock and Dalby, tune in weekday mornings 5:30 to 9.
The Brock and Dalby podcast is brought to you by badshop.ca, the Brock and Dalby merch store. with all proceeds going to the Canadian Cancer Society.